Chapter 3. Richard Scruggs fancied himself a mean cuss. He prided himself on disagreeing with anyone simply for the sake of disagreement. His daily routine included reading the New York Times first thing in the morning. He read the online version of the newspaper because it was free, whereas the print version was, as he put it, a drain on his economic resources. He grumbled as he noticed on the screen that there was a rather prominent obituary section in the newspaper's index. He hadn't noticed that before. Why, he thought, did he happen to notice this for the first time this particular morning? He grumbled again. A lot of stuff like this was happening to him lately. His weekly golf game was curtailed by Joe Emerson's fatal heart attack while he was trimming bushes around his house 2 weeks ago. Some friend he was. The dollar-bursting collapse of the housing market, followed by the free fall of the banks and financial sector, was another thing. He took these events personally. "What time did you get up?" His wife Susan stood at the doorway of his mall cubicle, wearing an old bathrobe and sipping her coffee. He stopped reading, turned, and rubbed his eyes. They were sore. "Did you know the goddamn Times has a section on obituaries?" "All newspapers have an obituary section. Why are you interested in that?" "Online? Why would they waste time to put something like that online? Doesn't make any sense to me." "Well, people, especially important people who die, are part of the news." She rolled her eyes ceilingward and then looked at him. "I asked you what time you got up." Richard shrugged. "I don't know. Early. I don't look at the goddamn clock when I get out of bed." "Don't get all huffy with me. I just asked a question." "Everything's going to hell in a handbasket, and you expect me to keep a stopwatch on what I do? What do you want from me?" "I know you haven't been sleeping well. That's why I asked." "What the fuck difference does it make what time I get out of bed?" "I will not stand here and listen to that kind of language." She turned and walked away. "Crazy old bitch," he mumbled as he turned back to the computer. "Your wife says you're having trouble sleeping." Dr. Edward Richter looked at Scruggs. "That lady ought to mind her own damn business." "How long has this been going on?" "Doc, you're as bad as she is. Haven't you been reading the goddamn newspaper? The stock market is going all to hell, and it's taken every other goddamn thing in America with it. Let me ask you a question. Is there anyone with half a brain who can sleep with all of this going on? Besides, I have to get up at night a couple times to pee. If I stayed in bed, the wife would have me down at the laundromat all day washing pee out of the sheets. Instead, she drags me here." Scruggs was forced to smile through clenched teeth. "Got ya, you bastard," he thought. "Speaking of piss, the wife is just pissed at me for keeping her awake. Give her something for her goddamn snoring so I can get some sleep." Richter looked at the old man. Dark circles framed his bloodshot eyes. His skin was pale, and beads of perspiration trickled down his forehead. "Your wife says you're preoccupied with death." Scruggs sneered. "Yeah, when you get at my age, what else is there to think about? Guys my age are dropping like flies. Put them in the ground and 2 weeks later, no one remembers their fucking names." He stopped to breathe. "They're the lucky ones. Don't have to worry about all the crap that's going on." Richter studied the other man's face and waited. He looked into Scruggs' eyes. "Have you had any thoughts about taking your own life?" "Oh, is that what this is about? You've been dying to ask me that question, just beating around the bush until you could." "Well, my answer is hell no. It would make the wife too happy if I did." He paused. "Can't say it wouldn't be a good idea." Richter thought about the recent visit to his office from the upright salesman. "I've got just the drug to help you sleep for the next couple of weeks." "You're right. A lot of people are having difficulty sleeping right now. I've had nothing but good results with this drug. Take one at night just before going to bed. Come back and see me in a month, and we'll see how you're doing. He reached for his prescription pad and started writing. Scruggs took the Serenity pill faithfully at 8 o'clock each evening. He bitched about it, but he was pleased that he was sleeping better. The past few years had been brutal. As long as he could remember, he'd spent each night staring at the ceiling in a darkened room. He became accustomed to lying awake, listening to the gentle snoring of his wife. If the truth were known, her deep breathing really wasn't snoring, but he would never let her know that. During these times, he'd think about things. All sorts of things popped into his mind. His children, middle-aged and married, who were too busy to bother with him much anymore. He thought that one through completely. Their neglect of him now was payback for his neglect of them during their formative years. He'd spend hours of sleeplessness ruminating about the Iraq War, his deteriorating golf game, the state of the economy, and the meal that his wife prepared for him, which caused a certain abdominal pressure and too much gas. But there was a downside to his newfound penchant for sleep. The fragility of the present, a sleep-filled night, took away cherished thinking time. Sleep was robbing him of time as the days went by faster than before. His world had sped up, and he found this was threatening. "I'm thinking of stopping that damn pill," he stated to his wife over breakfast. She looked up between coffee sips and spoonfuls of strawberry-topped oatmeal. "You weren't sleeping. The pill is helping you sleep. Why stop?" He hated it when she gave this kind of response. For once, why couldn't she just agree with him? "Makes me nauseated." "You've been taking the drug for 3 weeks and now you're saying it's making you nauseated?" "I know you well enough to know that you would have mentioned it before if it really did." Scruggs pushed his bowl of oatmeal away and stood. "You're a bitch. And I'm sick. And you're telling me I'm a liar? I can't take any more of this." He strode into the bedroom and locked the door. He started rummaging through the closet. He kept his favorite things in an old box on the floor of his side of the closet. She was forever nagging about getting rid of the box, but he kept it. Not only because it meant something to him, but also to spite her. If she wanted him to jump, he would sit. She wanted him to sit, he would stand. Red was blue and green was black. It was as simple as that. There was no getting along with the woman. He found what he was looking for, his treasured sidearm from the World War II. He hadn't fired the damn thing in 50 years. But he kept it as a memento of something in his life he had done for which he was proud. Probably the only damn thing in his entire life that he felt pride in doing. His whole life had been a waste. A real waste. Now that woman was pushing him. He jammed 3 of the cartridges into the weapon and chambered one. He walked into the other room, fired at her chest point blank, and watched as his wife of 67 years fell to the floor. He then turned the gun on himself.